Hello students. So in our last class we have started our sixth chapter Achilles. So this video is the continuation from the page number 86. So in the last video we came to know that the author met with the rose beetle man and had a keen interest to know about the funny guy. Now let us begin from the page number 86. Now, when the rose battleman was tired by his explanation, he sat down and started playing a short tune on his flute and also sang in his curious voice. But his words were not so clear, and a series of strange grunting. Grunting means half gana. As he was very much tired, he was coming from a long way. Then he put his flute into his pocket and then he put down a small sack from his shoulder from where when he opened the sack, the author was surprised to see half a dozen, means six tortoises fallen down from this sack and on that dusty road. Their shells had been polished with oil, and the battleman had decorated the tortoise front legs with little red ribbons. Because he want to attract the sellers to that they must buy this tortoise from him. So this why he decorated this tortoise in that way. On the next paragraph now you can see. Then slowly all the tortoises get off their head out of the gleaming cells. Gleaming means shining cells, and started moving down slowly without any enthusiasm. And out of that six tortoises, the author like one of the little tortoise, which is like a size of a cup of tea. That tortoise looks very lively, means full of energy than the other tortoise. The eyes of that tortoise were very bright and its walk was very alert, means moving very carefully with full of energy. The author looked at the tortoise for a long time and then he convinced himself that when he took that little tortoise to his villa, means villa you means a big home where everybody would welcome that small tortoise with full of happiness and enthusiasm. Now you see your next paragraph. But at that time, the author had no money to purchase that tortoise. But he did not worry at all, and he would simply told the beetle boy to collect the payment from his home or from his villa. As in his area, the local peoples loved and respect the Englishman. So he realized that the battleman may also agree to his proposals, to his words. Now you see the next paragraph, the last paragraph of page number 86. The author asked the battleman the price of that little tortoise. The rose beetle boy showed his 10 fingers. The author started bargaining with that little battleman, and he also imitated like the battleman and showed 2 fingers. Now the bargain start between the author and the battleman. Now you look to the next page, page number 87. At this, the battleman held up 9 fingers and then the author bargained and showed 3 fingers. The rose battleman looked sorrowful and sighed, but both were then sat in silence and started looking the crawling movement of those 6 tortoises that were moving on that dusty roads. Then the rose battleman finally picked up 5 fingers and also tried to convince the author by showing the lovely gleaming cells of that little tortoise. Then he handed the tortoise to the author. Now you see the next paragraph. The author told the battleman that he had no money and he had to come to his villa for getting the payment of that little tortoise. The battleman nodded his head and he was agreed to the author offer. Nodded you means without saying anything, just moving your head. The author was very much excited to the little tortoise and he wanted to go home quickly to show that little tortoise to everyone in his villa. And then the author was hurried to his villa. Before he going down to the hillside, he looked back and found that the rose battleman was still in that same place and warbling means playing his flute in a very high volume. Now you see the next paragraph. When the new arrival means the little tortoise entered the villa of the author, it was christened means he gets his named means namkaran as Achilles. And that tortoise was looked to be an intelligent reptile with a sense of humor. मतलब कि just very बहुत चालाक. Very soon the tortoise learned its name, and whenever anyone called by its name, the tortoise appeared, moving in a slow, heavy, and upward way on his tiptoe. Because as you know, the tortoise was moving very slowly. So like that, the tortoise moves. The Achilles loved being fed, mostly the bits of the lettuce, sitting on the ground in the sun. He also loved grapes very much. The dog Roger did so. Sometimes there was great rivalry means competition. Means the dog Roger and the tortoise Achilles, they were both the competitors for the good fruits like your grapes or strawberries like that something. But when the Achilles was eating the grapes and the juice coming out from his mouth down his chin, and the dog Roger would lie watching the reptile with dropping saliva that was uncontrolled from his mouth. Means कुत्ते के मुंह में पानी आ जाता था by seeing that Achilles was when he was eating the grapes. Now the dog Roger always had the fair share of the fruits, but still he thinks why this little tortoise was getting such a delicious food. And when the feeding was over and the author did not keep his eye on the tortoise and on his dog Roger, then sometimes the dog creep up to Achilles and lick him to get the juice that had run from his mouth. And at that moment, Achilles suddenly get into his cell with an indignant which means in an angry mood, making a whistle from his breath within his chest. And he was not coming out of his cell until the dog Roger had been not removed from that place. Okay, now the next paragraph you see. But the Achilles liked best to eat was the wild strawberries. He would become uncontrolled at the sight of those wild strawberries. He swallowed the little strawberries, and if he get a big one, he hold the strawberry from his mouth and ran to a safe place to get the pleasure, the taste of that fruit. Okay, so this much for today. I will send the last part in my next video. Okay, thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.